Identity. What's going on, my high vibrational individual expressions of God on earth? This is your boy, Dr. Will Rogers, aka Master Teacher 33. Let's break down identity, identification, restoration, transformation, and acceptance. So we're talking about the space or the Christ consciousness of Ethiopian Christ. That is the inner or the esoteric Christ versus the outside King James exoteric. So there's two Christ. One Christ is the Christos. The other Christ is the Christos. So we're talking about the Christ. You guys know your boy was out for about a week. Had some tooth issues that they had to get taken care of. Shout out to the wife for her help and assistance. Man, dad with me for every step of the way. But your boy's back in live and in color. So let's break this down in 3 steps. Number 1, take the quiz. Number 2, get the results. Number 3, enroll in the 6-month private transformation system. So let's break down these 3 steps, starting with establishing the definitions or the definitions. So when most people share information, when most people talk, they really don't give you the meaning of the words that they are using. Since words create worlds. Wrong word, wrong world. So everything in this planet, every problem, every issue, other than the failure to identify with the true Ethiopian Christ consciousness, the Christian versus the Christian construct, it all starts with a lack of a proper ID, a lack of proper definitions. So the first thing is my definition of identity. So your identity is the unconscious program that runs your entire life. That's your ID. Your true, so the goal is to, how do we identify it? What it is right now. Then once we identify whatever it is, how do we restore it back to the original? Or how do we transform it? And how do we accept it? So what are we identifying? What are we restoring? What are we transforming? And what are we accepting? Well, we are accepting, we're identifying, first of all, we're identifying it. We got to identify the current habit pattern. We identify the core. We got to identify the unconscious version of you that's running everything. It's self-evident. Look at your results. Your results in your life matches how you see yourself when nobody's around. It is your identity is your spiritual, S, psychological, P, authentic for you, A, conscious, C, energy, E. It runs your whole life. Below the threshold of your consciousness, it's running the program. It's the 8-year-old child sitting in the seat of your consciousness, making decisions based upon your trauma, based upon your triggers. So most of us, not you of course, the mother folk, most of us live our life according to our triggers. Most of us live our life according to our trauma. So we're not living our life according to the highest version, the true authentic self. So the whole purpose of the Christ Ethiopian versus the Christ European is to go back to the true identity. But what is that identity? Your identity is the unconscious self-narrative that's running the entire show behind the scenes. And you call it fate, or you call it God, or Jesus. What's up, Brother Daniel David? What's up, my brother from another mother? What's up going on, man? Man, Brother David, I see you out there, bro. Doing good, doing big things, bro. That's what I'm talking about. So the true identity is the authentic. We call it authentic because we don't know. We have not sat down and examined it. Most of us. Now, if you're high speed, you've sat down and you've asked yourself, why do I believe blank? Regardless of what the belief is, we're not here to argue and to debate over the narrative. There's a narrative. So your identity is a narrative that is a self-fulfilling prophecy. I love the way it says in Mark, all throughout the Bible, it says it's done unto you as you believe. All throughout the Bible, it talks about you have the faith of a mustard seed. All throughout the Bible, it breaks down faith, pistis, pistuo, and pytho. All throughout the Bible, it says you can say to the mountain. All throughout the Bible, when the centurion soldier came, Jesus says, no greater faith have I seen. So the whole Bible, all of science say the same thing, which we live in. The universe is a mirror. So whatever energy that you are unknowingly sending out is what you are knowingly receiving. And I can tell it, and you can tell it by looking at what is self-evident. What's showing up in your life? Who are you attracting? If you keep attracting people who like drama, somewhere hidden below the threshold of your consciousness is a very dramatic person. Because remember, nothing and no one can align with you unless it's the same frequency as you. That's frequency matching. So the number one key of the 3 keys, the whole point, when you go to the website MT33, author to architect. So why did I change? I had to transform. Why did I have to transform? Because just being an author wasn't my true identity. It's a part of it at that level of awareness. Now I'm at a higher level of awareness. Right, Brother David? So we grow. We go from glory to glory to glory. There really isn't no right or wrong. There's just levels. So we are bashing people that are at different levels than us. But you probably used to be at that level too. If you go back to the 21-year-old version of me, you'll be like, oh man, Doc used to do that. If you go to the 30, when I was 20, when I was 30, when I was 40, when I was 50, when I was 60, there's different levels of awareness, my brothers and sisters. I identify, but how did I change my identity? Go back and look at all my stuff has been documented. I've been doing this stuff for 30 plus. It's all online. Go back and listen to some of the stuff that I did 20 years ago, and then look through some of the stuff that I did today. If you go back and listen to some of the stuff that I did 20 years ago, it sounds like I'm contradicting myself. It sounds like, man, Doc used to, man, back when I was in the Sacred Name movement, oh man, I was demonizing anybody who used the name of Jesus. Because the name was Yahushua, the HaMashiach. So that means that, bruh, you was lost and you was confused. Why? That was my level of awareness. So when I grew in consciousness, I grew in perception, I grew in love. My ability to hold alternative views without demonizing and browbeating people who didn't see the world exactly as I see the world. Now I have a greater capacity for love. I have a greater capacity to hold alternate viewpoints according to other frequencies. Because that's their level of frequency. That's their level of awareness. So, like Brother David says, when I was a child, bam, I spoke as a child. But I'm not a child anymore. So there are some people who are spiritual babies. They didn't read Hebrews chapter 6, verses 1, 2, and 3. They are still on Jesus Christ and Him crucified. That's all they know. They know nothing else. They cannot teach. They cannot preach. They cannot talk about anything other than Jesus Christ and Him crucified. That's not bad. That's not good. That's their level of awareness. For whatever reasons, they refuse to grow. They are not spiritual mature. Only listen to every message. Every message, every Sunday, every day is the same boring stuff. That's why there's no transformation. So I'm a transformation specialist, but I didn't start out that way. I started out just like you. Jesus Christ and crucified. That's all I knew. But I kept asking questions. I kept questioning the nature of my reality. Now, I didn't get rid of Jesus Christ and crucified. I just expanded my consciousness. I did exactly what it says in the Bible. It says, let us go on to maturity, not laying again the foundation. Now, that's tough because why? Most people do not have the spiritual, psychological aptitude to establish a consciousness that can bring in new energy without threatening the old. Ooh, most frequencies, not you, of course, them other frequencies. So I'm sitting here and I'm talking to you right now. And the crazy thing is, whether there's 1,000 people listening or one person listening, we all see the world based upon our culture, based upon our education, based upon our gender, based upon our race, based upon our religion. So there's a lot of different things that factor into the way that you see the world. It's not good, it's not bad, it's not right, it's not wrong, it's different. So the golden rule is to, again, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Treat people the way that you want to be treated. And the system works because it's being ruach, and pneuma is Holy Spirit led. Even though you can't put the wind in the box, you can't put God in a box, you can't put the Holy Spirit in the box. So the system works by not working. Now let me say that really, really slowly. If you go to the website MT33, author to architect. So what we're doing is we're creating the architecture or the framework for the Holy Spirit to lead you and guide you into all truth at your level of awareness. And the way that the system works is so powerful because it taps into and it reveals you to you. It shows you your own negative habit pattern or your own current habit pattern. So what do I mean? Right now, there's something outside of you that you don't believe is inside of you. What does that mean? Right now, there's a wish. Right now, there's a hope. Right now, there's a dream. Right now, it's difficult to understand what it says in Mark 11:22. Right now, we are asking and believing God for something instead of being that something. Why? We haven't established the vibrational equivalency of that level of wealth, health, wisdom, or relationship. Why? We have not been exposed to the right words. We have not been exposed to the right chakras, worlds, WHIRL. That's all it means. And it's very important that we understand and we make room for us to question the nature of the narrative. What does that mean? That means that in spirituality and in psychology, there is a true identity. This true identity is often called the authentic self, S.P.A.C.E. S.P.A.C.E, the spiritual, psychological, authentic self creates a level of consciousness. That's the C. That creates an entrepreneurial spirit or energy. That's the E. S.P.A.C.E. There is no E without the C. There is no C without the A. There is no A without the P. There's no P without the S. That's the narrative self. So right now, there's a narrative that you are saying to yourself. It ain't me. It ain't the white man's fault. It ain't Brother David's fault. It ain't Donald Trump's fault. It ain't Joe Biden's fault. It ain't your mama's fault. It ain't the devil's fault. It ain't the reverend's fault. It ain't the doctor's fault. It ain't the bishop's fault. Whose fault is it? It's your fault because you are feeding yourself that narrative. The whole system is based upon identifying the current narrative. The number one issue that I find in 30 since I became a true adult, a spiritual adult, and I started doing this to myself. I started questioning the nature of my own story. See, there's a story playing in my head. See, my story was a victim. My mom died when I was little. I was raised in a cult. I was, around a bunch of religious zealots and all that. Everybody was broke. Everybody was sick. I grew up in extreme poverty, no running water, no electricity. Y'all know the story. So I was a victim. It was everybody's fault. It was the white man's fault. It was the black man's fault. It was Jesus' fault. It was everybody's fault. It wasn't until, Brother David, I sat down and I questioned the ongoing narrative. That was a lifetime of experiences. That was an environment. There was a lack of exposure to higher level of education. I noticed that my true identity was a cohesive story that was woven together, that I kept repeating over and over again, that allowed me to play the victim, but it denied me mental and spiritual and psychological clarity. So as long as I was a victim, I couldn't be victorious. So Brother David, I had to make a choice. My brother, I had to make a decision. One day I had to decide, do I want to keep playing that victim story, or do I want to rewrite the script? Do I want to write a new story? And what's the new story? So I had to sit down. I watched last night the story of Earth, Wind, and Fire. It focused on Maurice White, which was the leader of Earth, Wind, and Fire. The dude was a metaphysical genius. I had no idea. Earth, Wind, and Fire, the group was it was light years ahead of its time. The dude, though, had a dark side. But his vision, Maurice White had a vision. He wrote it down and he manifested that vision. I had a vision. And I was watching Earth, Wind, and Fire last night, and I realized, like, wow, I'm living my vision. Everything I wrote down is now manifested in my life. And I put that inside of this new system. So I want to encourage you today to tap into your true identity. And the way that you tap into the true identity is to question the current identity. I know it's very difficult. It's very difficult to question the nature of your reality. It's extremely hard because you feel like, you're questioning God. You feel like you're turning your back on your beliefs, but you're not. What you're doing is you're being honest with yourself. And you're asking yourself, and you're saying that if I've been dealing with financial issues for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, my whole life, I'm talking about the issues that you've been dealing with your entire life. If you've been dealing with wealth issues your entire life, something's wrong. If you've been dealing with psychology, mental health issues, something's wrong. If you've been dealing with weight, nutrition, or health issues, something's wrong. If you've been dealing with relationship issues where no matter who you get in a relationship, you can't get along with nobody. Every time you meet somebody, the relationship goes left, something's wrong. And that something that is wrong is you. The way that you see the world, the way that you process information is flawed. If you've been dealing with an issue in your life for 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years, and that same issue is still there, that simply means you have a faulty ID. Now remember what ID, remember what we defined at the beginning of today's message. Your identity is the unconscious program that makes all of your decisions, but it's below the threshold of your awareness. So the only way to make the unconscious conscious is to expose it. And the way that you expose it is by questioning it. When you make a choice and then make a decision, if you are a vegan, veganism is not good or bad. It's a choice that you made. Now, what are the benefits of being a vegan? Is being a vegan moving you in the direction of your God-given purpose, destiny, and diakonia? If so, that's a good choice and a good decision. Is being a vegan allowing you to fulfill the golden rule? Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Being a vegan allows you to, again, operate in love, joy, peace, gentleness, meekness. You are fulfilling the fruit of the Spirit. Again, it's not, what we're talking about is results, brothers and sisters. I don't really care the way some people do. Some people are just married to tradition. I'm married to results. I'm married to quality of life. I'm married to the road, not the destination. So that means every morning that you wake up, there should be activities that you are engaged in that are animating principles. It makes you excited. Why? You're not hurting. You're not harming anybody. You are actually an asset. You're not a liability. Everywhere you go, you add value to other people. Is that your life? If not, go to the website, MT33 Author to Architect. You're not living your life at the highest level. If you're not an asset, if you're not adding value, if you're not the lender instead of the borrower, if you're not operating in a positive mental disposition, if you don't wake up every day. Remember, I just was down for a whole week. The tooth, I had to go to the emergency room. I had to go to the oral surgeon. I had to go through all of this stuff. I was in severe pain. I really shouldn't even be doing today's show. I'm supposed to be, resting. But I'm back. I really wasn't gone. What's the point? Even in the midst of all of that quote-unquote adversity, even though it's really not adversity, was it an emergency? No. Because if I had taken better care of my tooth, I wouldn't have to be sitting in the emergency room. So it's self-induced. So 99.99% of your issues are self-induced. But what does that mean? That simply means you have a lack of consciousness, a lack of awareness. That means that you're doing things that are self-defeating. You could be eating something like I was doing with my tooth. So my job is to assist you with stop defeating you. Get out your own way. Allow God to be God. See, if God is sitting in the seat of your soul, something happens. When God is sitting in the seat of your soul, you start to question your soul. You start to question your own mind, will, emotions, imaginations, and intellect. You are in Hebrews chapter 4, verse 12, Negro. If you truly are what the church calls saved, you don't need no reverend, no doctor, no bishop. It's good if you got one, but you don't need one. Because you question yourself. When you wake up in the morning, you look at yourself and you ask yourself, am I a real man? If you're a woman, you should ask yourself, are you a real woman? What is a real man? What is a real woman? A real man and a real woman, they operate in a mental disposition. That is the vibrational equivalent of God on earth. You are an ambassador of Christ. You are a royal priest. You are God's example on earth. You add value everywhere you go. You have bad days? Absolutely. Are you perfect? Absolutely not. Do you make mistakes? Absolutely. You probably make more mistakes than anybody else, but what do? You own it. You are no longer a victim. You stop blaming other people for your problems and for your issues. You go and you look yourself in the mirror, and when you want to see the devil, you go look at yourself, because you know that every issue and every problem in your life is self-induced. So you don't cry about it. You don't make mistakes. You get on your knees. You get in your closet. You go outside. You go hug a tree. You do whatever you do to get into your personal, private, productive relationship with God, and you go to the throne room yourself. There is no more mediator between God and man save the Son. So you know you don't need no mediator. You know that you have to work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. So you ain't blaming nobody. You're not a victim. You know that all things work together for your good. You know that no weapon formed against you can prosper. You know that all who rise up against you shall fall. So when you wake up in the morning, you are victorious regardless of the level of your finances, regardless of your level of your health, regardless of your level of your mental capacity, regardless of whether you are married or separated or in a relationship. You know that you are God's representative on earth, and you carry yourself as if you walk through the valley of shadow and death and you fear no evil. Am I saying that you are God, him, her, itself? No. But what I am saying is that you are an individual expression of God. What I am saying is that you are called, you've been gifted, you've been justified, you've been sanctified. Now, all of these are religious terms. So whether you're a religious individual or not, what's the point? How do you self-identify? The only problem on earth is you refuse to identify as Psalms 82:6. You can't do it. You can't do it. You can't read the Bible. Well, it says, is it not written in your book that ye are gods? You can't do it. You can't hold yourself to the standard, because that requires you to man up. That requires you to woman up. That requires you to stop blaming other people for your issues. That requires you to look yourself in the mirror. That requires you to put your big boy drawers on and your big girl panties on and take responsibilities for your own life. Nah, you can't do that, Negro. Why? Because you need somebody to blame. Because you ain't measuring up. I mean, not you personally, but people you know. That's what this system is about. This system is personal accountability. This is a spiritual, psychological, authentic Ethiopian Christ, not the European one. This is the difference between being a weapon of God and being drugged or being used by the anti-God. Totally different frequency. So when you're ready, take your time. 3 steps, free quiz. Read the results. Enroll in the 6-month program. It's available at MT33 Author to Architect. I'm the architect. Spiritual, psychological, authentic, Christ conscious energy architecture. Let's go. Holler at your boy. Take your time though. No rush.